Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, conference. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you, Nathan, and thank you, conference, for that reception. That means the world to me. Very, very good to be with you here today at Congress House, the real Progressive Alliance. And the heartbeat, as you heard from Nathan, of a movement that is winning. Where we need to win and where we haven't won for decades in all four corners of England. In Blackpool, Middlesbrough, Dover, Medway, Plymouth, Swindon, Stoke-on-Trent, once again, the largest party in local government. All of which, I'm reliably told, means the real winner last week was Rishi Sunak. A brilliant strategy, a masterstroke to lose 1,000 seats. Honestly, even by Westminster standards, the spin last week was quite something. But all that noise, it's water off a duck's back. It will never distract me from our ultimate goal. You know, when I was younger, I was a decent mid-distance runner, racing across Surrey in the 1970s. Not actually where you might think a sort of breeding ground for progressive politics. But one thing any runner will tell you is that the hardest yards come at the end. So make no mistake, we are on track, on a path towards power. But there's still more work to be done, a lot more work to be done. And the toughest part lies ahead. We've got to show not just reassurance, not just that we're better than the Tories. Last week's results show people they already get that. The task now is to measure up to the scale of change that Britain needs. Demonstrate that we can be the hope working people need. Get our purpose, our pride, and our future back. Restoring hope for working people. It's a simple aim, but it's what we've got to be about. A politics that uses power to fix problems, not protest to grab the limelight. That's my project. Respect, my guide. Unlocking aspiration, my cause. And the goal is for a Labour Party that speaks for, fights for, and wins for working people. But it won't be easy. We've got to navigate our way through revolutions in technology, in energy, in medicine, and with an ageing society, even in who we are. Climate change is a recipe for global instability. The global economy, the power of the world is changing. There's a war on our continent. And then there's the state of our country after 13 years of shambolic Tory government. Seriously, if you think our job in 1997 was to rebuild a crumbling public realm, that in 1964 it was to modernise an economy overly dependent on the kindness of strangers, and in 1945 to build a new Britain in a volatile world out of the trauma of collective sacrifice, well, in 2024 it will have to be all three. All three. And at a time when our politics feels broken, when people are bruised by the past 13 years, where working people listened to politicians who said, we're all in it together, but who made them pay for the mess caused by the banks, where they missed funerals, weddings, last goodbyes, all to save the lives of people they will never meet, while the government broke all the rules that they followed. And when, as their bills, their mortgages, their rent all went up, they were told, there's no more money for you, but there is for the richest 1%. And by the way, you need to accept your family is going to be poorer. Conference, this is the territory of decline. The stony ground where our project must plant its roots. The soil where we must grow our hope. It's no wonder working people don't trust politicians after all they've been through. No wonder lots of people now think that things can only get worse. We've got to turn that around. Absolutely. That's why our project can't be surface level. It can't be skin deep. It boils down to this. The Labour Party will only restore hope in the country if we once again become the natural vehicle for working people, an agent for their hopes and aspirations, a party of the common good. Now, some people think that all we're doing is distancing ourselves from the previous regime. Well, we are, but that misses the point. This is about taking our party back to where we belong and where we should have always been, back doing what we were created to do. We've been drifting away from working people for a long time, and that's unforgivable. That's why I say this project goes further and deeper than New Labour's rewriting of Clause 4. This is about rolling up our sleeves, changing our entire culture. It's our DNA. Who are we in it for? Who do we serve? Who do we wake up in the morning and fight for? Who do we have in our mind's eye when we make decisions? And with the levels of cynicism in our politics, the letdown, the drifting away, the disconnect, our collapse in Scotland, the loss of the Red Wall, this task is going to be ongoing, difficult, and enormous. It is, if you like, Clause 4 on steroids. And the results this week, last week, show our work is beginning to pay off. But look, it's much easier to lose the trust of working people, far harder to reconnect. It's not just that the problems, the cost of living, the NHS, climate change, will take some time to fix, they will. We've also got to understand how a world of change, those three revolutions, are producing levels of insecurity that are hard to endure. That if work doesn't pay, if living standards are falling, bills are rising, holidays start to feel out of reach, family life does feel more fragile. That when you look out of your window and see your community changing, high streets boarded up, fly tipping, antisocial behaviour, drugs and crime, that does gnaw away at your confidence in the future. That if you see an economy that hoards power and potential, where the South-East creates the wealth and the only answer that's offered is redistribution, that doesn't treat our communities with the dignity or respect that they deserve. And most of all, that patriotism is about putting the country first, about serving your country, not just parading its symbols like the Tories do, but that working people do need to see your commitment to service, not some kind of patronising contempt for those who fly our flag. It's a project that comes from my values, from my political core, that depends on understanding the true worth of service, respect, and stability, and gets how these three values are a precondition for hope and unity, for reconnecting people with working people, and meeting their aspirations in a more volatile world. Service because it's the lifeblood of unity, a collective mission. People think politics is about vanity or self-enrichment. We've got to show them the country always comes first. That's why we had to change our party. Show we want business to prosper. Show that our support for NATO is non-negotiable and that we'll rip anti-Semitism out by its roots. Country first, party second. Respect, because people want a politics that's done with them, not to them. It's about lifting people up, not punching down. I've never believed that there's an appetite for culture war politics in this country. You don't need to humiliate people to move your country forward. You need to bring people together. Business and worker, public and private, politics and people. 4 great nations all pulling together, all united in a collective mission. A mission with priorities that are contested, debated, negotiated, of course, but where politics has a higher purpose that we never compromise on, where we understand that a nation is not just a country, but a community, not just a collection of individuals, but a cause, and from that, that we all owe things to one another, like dignity, understanding, and most of all, respect. This is everything to me, and I saw how feelings of disrespect weighed my father down, chipped away at his esteem. I want Britain to be a country where people don't have to change who they are just to get on. Whatever your circumstances, however you contribute, whoever you are, deserves respect. That's not just a moral imperative. I also believe it's a force far more powerful than division. Because when people are fully respected, when they feel their contribution carries weight, when they're able to bring their whole self to their work, their shoulders lift up, their belief comes back, hope is restored. And then you put that alongside the natural ambition people have for their town, their community, their family. A pride and purpose I've seen in spades these last few weeks. Then yes, we can build a better Britain. We can provide the secure foundations working people need and get our future back. But those 2 words, secure foundations, they tell us that the third ingredient of hope is stability. It's always been a crucial part of the Labour promise: secure jobs, affordable housing, a safety net in hard times, a foundation working people can trust, rely on, draw upon for their aspiration, their hopes, the better future that they want for their children. But to be honest, I don't think the language of stability comes naturally to progressive politics. I think too often we dismiss it as conservative, as a barrier to change. Now, don't mistake me, the very best of progressive politics is found in our determination to push Britain forward, a hunger, an ambition, that we can seize the opportunities of tomorrow and make them work for working people. But this ambition must never become unmoored from working people's need for stability, for order, for security. We must understand that there are precious things in our way of life, in our environment, in our communities, that it's our responsibility to protect and preserve, to pass on to future generations. And look, if that sounds conservative, then let me tell you, I don't care. Somebody has got to stand up for the things that make this country great. And it isn't going to be the Tories. That, in the end, is one of the great failures of the last 13 years. A Tory party that, in generations past, saw itself as the protector of the nation and the union, has undermined both, has taken an axe to the security of family life, trashed Britain's reputation abroad, has totally lost touch with the ordinary hope of working people. The Conservative Party can no longer claim to be conservative. It conserves nothing of value. Not our rivers or seas, not our NHS or BBC, not our families, not our nation. But the lesson for progressives must be that if a tide of change threatens to sweep away the stability working people need, we have to be in there, fighting for security just as fervently as we fight against injustice. It is not our job to lecture working people that change is coming. It's our job to lead them through it, to bring people together and chart a new course. Use the power of government to help support, protect and lift up. Stand, as in times past, with working people pushing Britain forward in search of their ordinary hope. That's what this project has always been about. We've got to keep showing those values, show that service, respect and stability are central to our approach. Demonstrate how a changed party can change the country. That was the success of New Labour, New Britain, a modernised party fit to modernise the country. That is our approach today, a party once again on the side of working people, changing Britain to govern for working people. Because if we keep to those values, understand how important they are to hope, and put them alongside the fundamental progressive argument that we will use the power of dynamic government to push this country forward, then have no doubt this is a Labour moment. And conference, that's what the future demands. Alongside dynamic government, you need that sense of collective purpose. It's essential for our 5 missions, for everything we want to achieve in government. It's how we make our streets safe, tear down barriers to opportunity, become a clean energy superpower, build an NHS fit for the future, and push our country forward to the highest sustained growth in the G7. And not just any old growth, growth that truly serves working people, that understands the need for stability, raises living standards everywhere, comes from the grassroots, focuses on productivity in every community, not just redistribution, sees secure, well-paid jobs as the litmus test of our politics, and puts communities in charge of their own destiny. A new course, a break not just from Labour arguments of the past, but also from the traditional Westminster model. This is what I mean by mission-led government. And it's why I'm not afraid to use the language of take back control. There's no hope in these times for a stand-aside state. But at the same time, nobody's going to unite behind the traditional Westminster way of doing things. So walk around any working class community and you'll be hit over the head by this. The people we need to serve no longer have faith in an unreformed state. That speaks to a bigger truth, that the British public want politics that gets the value of respect and service. They want stability and change, security and hope. And that's why I'm here. That's my project. A new partnership between politics and working people. A new Labour project for our times. A changed Labour Party for a changed Britain. Labour back as the party of working people. That's our approach. That's what we're going to deliver. That's how we get our future back. Thank you very much, conference. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.